So here we are, Geneva Airport, Switzerland, about to get on a plane, head to Lebanon, Beirut. Let's go.
Felt by millions in Lebanon. This is a national disaster for Lebanon.
Just after 6 p.m. local time on Tuesday the 4th of August, an explosion ripped through Beirut's port.
The flashes, they say, were fireworks. Then something much bigger ignited.
2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate.
Ammonium nitrate, which had been stored there since 2014. It can be used as fertilizer or to make explosives.
It was felt as far as Cyprus, 240 kilometers west of Beirut.
This was the aftermath. Windows shattered in buildings across the city and damaged cars on the roads near the port. Satellite images reveal the extent of the damage. This crater was once a warehouse.
Corruption and incompetence in Lebanon's wealthy elite. Beirut's hospitals, already pressed hard by COVID-19.
Beirut, so often a battleground in war.
Since the end of last year, Lebanon has been paralyzed by a political and economic crisis. Who allowed the storage of so much deadly explosive for so long, so close to the city centre?
The people of this country are no strangers to destruction. A quick glimpse at the nation's history will confirm that.
This tragedy risks pushing the Lebanese further into despair.
I was last in Lebanon in 2018. Since then, the country has deteriorated rapidly. A widespread revolution started in 2019 due to allegations of corruption in the government. The economy has plummeted and the banking system has collapsed, freezing everybody's life savings and bank accounts. Lebanon's currency has lost 80% of its value. Inflation is rampant. Food and basic medicine are becoming harder to access. A famine has been predicted by the UN in coming months. Not to mention the recent explosion that killed 200, injured 6,000 to 7,000 and left over 300,000 homeless. Lebanon also hosts 1.5 million refugees from Syria and Palestine. Any one of these things is enough to bring a country to its knees, all while they face the same pandemic that we're facing every day. Throughout this video series, we will meet people of all backgrounds from different areas of Lebanon. You will see the strength, the fight, and the kindness of the Lebanese through the people we meet. This is their story. We were just caught in the middle of something quite insane, to be honest. Out of nowhere, everybody just started firing guns. Merci. Hello. Thanks.
Straight on ground and just drowned.
We've come down to the port area. You can see behind me the absolute mess. That's the exact point of the explosion site there. You can see the silos on the left there. Silos had 6 months supply of food in them, destroyed wheat and grains and things in a country where supplies were already so low.
You can see the impact on the Beirut port silos building before and after the explosion.
If the blast was an earthquake, it would have had an impact of a 4.5 earthquake, so just gives you an idea of how heavy it was. And then obviously you have the debris and the blast just shooting across the city. This part up here was affected the most because the silos which contain the food actually stopped a lot of the blast going that way. So it's quite intense, really, isn't it? Just come down the road a bit. You can see this petrol station behind me. There's a military guy coming towards me. I'm not too sure what he's going to say, but you can see the total destruction here. So all those warehouses you were just looking at there, they were full of supplies like food and medicine, completely destroyed. What they could salvage they have, but they're going to have to completely demolish all the buildings there, rebuild them. And you can see the silo here in the distance. So that basically stopped the explosion impacting that side, so it really saved that side of the city. But this side of the city got absolutely just pillaged. All these buildings here have no windows in them. They've been told by the military not to get them on camera, but they're okay with us filming here. So just to give you an idea of the force of this explosion, I was actually in Cyprus, which is 240 kilometers offshore, that direction along the Mediterranean. And I was outside on the phone and I felt the explosion from Cyprus, 240 kilometers away. I thought it was a military experiment going in Cyprus because there's a strong military present in Cyprus, but later on I found out that it was coming from all the way here, 100 miles. So that building I just pointed to, you can see behind me here, that's the a governmental building for the electricity of Lebanon. That was absolutely hammered. 6 or 7 people died in this building, some falling from the windows there. This here is a Audi dealer. So they used to have all brand new cars in here, just completely destroyed. You can see here an Audi sign. Welcome to Audi. So Beirut is quite a developed city. You've got big modern buildings. You've got a yacht club down there. You know, that you've got your Starbucks and obviously your Audi dealers. Down here you can see all the records just lying here. You know, people get on with their lives, you know. People driving to work, still trying to hustle, obviously. 300,000 people left homeless and 6,000 to 7,000 injured. It's not going to be easy to recover from this. The country of Lebanon was already in a debt of $100 billion. This explosion has added 15 billion to that debt. You can see this man behind me here. Yeah, in here, okay?
Take it to
okay. Shukran, shukran.
Welcome.
See, like that's the people, right? He's a security guard for this destroyed Audi building, and he's inviting me to take photos because the people of Lebanon want the world to know what's going on here and what's led from the government's neglect, allegedly, to what we're seeing here. So you have a real sense of camaraderie with the people here. It's really beautiful, and they're so welcoming to foreigners. Behind me we have Badia, and you're going to be getting to know him quite well during the Lebanese trip, as he's going to be my right-hand man.
Excuse me.
And we've come into the Audi dealers that I just showed you, and we're going to interview this man here. I believe he was here during the explosion. So Badia, can you firstly just ask him to introduce himself?
يعطيك العافية يا عم. بس تعرفنا عن حالك وشو بتعمل؟
محمد سويد بشتري هون بشتغل security 72 سنة 72 years.
So his name is Muhammad Swed. He's a security guy here. He's retired actually, security guy. This is like an extra job for him because unfortunately here in Lebanon, like after retirement, you don't have enough income to have, and a 72-year-old man like him has to work and continue on working and supporting his family. There's no other option for him to do to survive.
He was here during the explosion, right? Which is basically a few hundred meters behind us.
Exactly.
And so can he just describe what the experience was like?
شفت يعني الانفجار الأول كيف شاب the first exploded and then the fire.
At that time of the explosion, he started his shift, and there was fire in the harbor, and the harbor just behind us, just a few meters away from the main blast point, from the warehouse where that has exploded. And he was saying he was just around the area, just on the street, and he saw the fire. He parked his car right behind the building. He went there at 6 o'clock exactly, and he walked out to the other building, which is luckily for him just few minutes, and he was talking to his colleague, asking him, do you know what's happening, etc. And by the time they were chatting, he said it's only like fireworks, etc. And the big boom blast happened, throw them both away, and still shattered glass are still stuck in his back. And
Right now
until this time he can't like knee for to do his prayers. He felt like he was like thrown away at the height of at least 2 meters.
So he arrived at work at 6 and the explosion was at 6:07.
6 or 7. It's only a matter of few minutes from him being in the front facing directly the explosion till he goes back and talks to his colleague. Otherwise we will never know what will have happened to him.
So 200 other people weren't so lucky, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
And we still got reported, the last report, 7, they listed their names, are still missing till the moment.
My eyes ما كان في إني to see, and my ear then glasses come.
Okay.
Shattered glass in his ears, you can't see in his eyes,
And the
Back.
and the loss of injuries in his back.
Has anybody helped you, organization or the government or anything?
No.
He's in desperate need to work, and this is why he's working, just to survive, because his sons, they are not working. So he's the only one who's providing support to the family. 70-year-old man. Luckily for him, alhamdulillah, he survived the blast. He's got injured, but he's still standing on his foot. In these circumstances, in the economical situation that we're passing through here in Lebanon, unfortunately, and I don't know what to say, but these type of people we need to take care of.
You would say that's a really good representation of Lebanon as a whole, that the people are so strong and resilient and they're fighting back so hard. You know, they just get straight back up. Even with glass in their back, they're still coming to work and fighting, right?
Yeah, this is how we survive in this country. This is how we try to live another day by the hope we give to ourselves as Lebanese. If you know the history of Lebanon, we've been in conflict since the 90s, late 90s, and our only code is to support each other, to enforce each other, and to survive every single day.
So this is Mohammed's Nissan here.
Yeah.
Destroyed. And is there insurance or no insurance?
Money?
Nothing.
No.
So that's where the explosion happened. And this is the Audi dealership where Mohammed arrived at work at 6 o'clock, and at 6:07 he was thrown in the air. Still has glass in his back, and as we were leaving then he said that he loves us both and that we're good men. I mean, it's just incredible, the hospitality of these people and just how open they are.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة.
So you can see over here, that's a better view of the explosion site. Over there in the distance, in front of the silos there, you can see the yellow. That's all food product like wheat. The hole that was left by the explosion, where the factory was, it's 40 meters deep, 110 meters wide, so that should just give you an idea of the pure force of it. Obviously they're still cleaning up around here, but they're moving around containers and things, and obviously there's still got to be products coming into the country to keep everything going, so you know, they're cleaning up but still functioning simultaneously. There's a few ships capsized out there on the sides. Quite surreal scenes here. And then everywhere you look, just drove through a few neighborhoods, and all the apartment buildings over here, they've either had new windows installed or they're just windowless. So all these skyscrapers here, majority of these had all their windows blown out. Many people's apartments destroyed, all their, you know, lifelong possessions just absolutely wiped out. So the ammonium nitrate was actually stored next to firecrackers, or fireworks. So this statue is made from the debris and the rubble of the explosion, and it's supposed to represent the hope of the Lebanese people, like a phoenix rising out the ashes there, and really quite a symbolic scene with the explosion site in the background. Let's just hope that the future holds some positivity for the people of this nation. So we just come up from the port area to a neighborhood, still quite close to the port. This whole neighborhood was affected by the blast. This yellow building behind me has been fixed up. You can see it's nice fresh paint and things. We're going to go inside, meet a family, talk to them about their experience on the day of the explosion and what's happened thereafter. Working with an organization here called Humanitarian, and they've helped fund projects, this specific project and projects like it, so I hope it gives you a good example of the work they're doing, and yeah, I'm sure we'll get a good look at people who are lucky enough to receive aid here out of the 300,000 that have had their homes destroyed.
This is Akira.
Akira.
Yeah, she's a beautiful dog.
Yeah, very beautiful. Okay, so we've just come into this lovely family's house, and you can see that it's looking beautiful. Fresh paint and fresh windows. Badia, would you mind just introducing the family here and how long have they lived here?
وبقلكم ميرسي كتير على معاملتكم إلي أنا.
Her name is Jacqueline Chidia. She's been born since 1941. She's living here alone, but her daughter and her granddaughter, they always come and check on her. And they've been living here for the past, at least, she's saying 57 to 60 years. So basically her whole life, herself and her family are around this place and this area. For her, this is all her memories of her total life is here.
In video from the day of the blast, you can see white flashes, what appear to be fireworks, going off before the massive explosion. A former port worker told the Guardian newspaper he warned for years it was a disaster waiting to happen and says nothing was done.
Can we just go back to what she was doing on the day of the explosion?
Yeah.
أنا قاعدة هون وجارتنا الفوق قاعدة هون محلي وتوني قاعدة مطرح حضرته. انشبقنا لبرا أنا وتوني وجارتنا فوق بعضنا. أنا في فريز عندي بس.
Her neighbor, herself and her daughter were sitting here. They opened the door. They were trying to have afternoon coffee just to chill out. It was like 6 p.m. And of course they saw some smoke and they heard some blah. But when the main blast happened, they just couldn't feel anything and they only saw themselves right outside on the stairs. And she opened her eyes. She thought that everything, the whole building was turning around. She just couldn't feel anything and couldn't hear anything. She looked at her daughter. Her daughter was black and then gray, and then all they've heard, the screams, the sirens, the shattered glass, people are shouting out, and her granddaughter was on the phone with her daughter, all screaming because they don't know what happened to each other. This caused lots of fear and trauma, and even Tony, her daughter, she's been under medication since, taking pills to cool down because she's you know the sounds and the experience that
post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. She's saying we passed through lots of wars in Lebanon, civil wars, attacks, all types of wars and conflict. But this one has never ever experienced in her life. This is something beyond abnormal.
What help did they receive?
لا بس قولي لهم تيتا دهنوا لنا البيت ركبوا الابواب الخشب اللي كان الاباجور.
She's praying and you can sense it from the bottom of her heart for everyone who supported, who helped, who stood by them, not only just renovating, giving them hope, the smile that they were in desperate need of it because of the trauma and the shock that they passed through. They were mentioning all the items and they listed everything that we have helped and worked and supported, from the paint, the glass, the wood, the electricity, the walls. Some of the walls have been shattered, have been fixed, the sanitation. For them, this is really something they appreciate for the rest of their life, something big. Our brothers and sisters and mothers and aunties and daughters that have been compromised to this massive explosion. This is our mission as human beings, to stand for human beings that are oppressed in calamities and try to relieve them and release as much stress they've got as possible. This is our mission. With your help and with your support, together we can save lives. Together we stand for each other.
Beautiful. Merci.
Thank you.
يا أهلا وسهلا. يا أهلا وسهلا.
Thank you for doing it.
يا أهلا وسهلا.
Back at the hotel room, I'm going to leave a link to Human Appeal's Lebanon Crisis relief page, and there you can donate anything you have, really. It would be a huge help. Obviously, you can see the money is like lifting people from being homeless to having their houses back. You know, they have that emotional attachment. They've lived there their whole lives and they've been thrown out by that violent explosion. So on this trip I'm going to be visiting a few of the other projects that the Human Appeal Lebanon Crisis Fund is supporting, all things to do with Lebanon's current situation, which is, you know, you've seen the picture, it's not, you know, looking pretty. I will link the page below and feel free to check it out and read up more on it. And obviously I'll show you more on coming videos about, you know, the situation, and just to kind of show the people of Lebanon. That family we visited were Christian. Quite interesting, you've got quite the combination of religion in this country. We're going to be visiting all different kinds of people from all different class levels, spectrums, religions that make up this beautiful country of Lebanon, and trying to support them along the way, the small way we can. So thank you for your support. It's great to be back filming. Obviously it's been a while. I shouldn't have to explain why, but you know, COVID. It's good to be back, and thanks for sticking with me. You would say that's a really good representation of Lebanon as a whole, that the people are so strong and Brazilian and they're fighting back so hard. You know, they just get straight back up. Even with glass in their back, they're still coming to work and fighting, right?
Yeah, this is how we survive in this country. Our only code is to support each other, to enforce each other, and to survive every single day. This is our mission as human beings, to stand for human beings that are oppressed in calamities and try to relieve them and release as much stress they've got as possible. This is our mission. With your help and with your support, together we can save lives. Together we stand for each other.
Beautiful.